What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Tammy. This is TammyTalks. It's been a minute. I haven't made a video in a while. Bear with my voice. I am going through a summer cold, so my voice is going to go in and out at some points, but we're going to make it through. So let's talk to Braxtons, episodes 2, 3, and 4. If you haven't already subscribed, thumbs up the video, leave your comments down below. There's a lot to talk about. So, episode 1, because I did recap episode 1, I told you guys that I felt icky. I felt a way recapping someone's grief and recapping someone's grief therapy, right? So I was like, I'm not gonna do it. Let me fall back. This isn't how I thought the show was gonna go. Let me fall back. So I didn't even watch episode 2, and then I came back to it when I saw social media was like piping up about it, right? Everybody's on their soapbox about how this sister's wrong and this sister's wrong, and you didn't care about Tracy. So, and it's like, okay, we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot as a viewer. So I said, let me come back and give my 2 cents about episodes 2, 3, and 4, and then I'll jump on and be consistent with 5. So I'm gonna go through 2 and 3 really quickly, just because again, 2 is really their grief counseling. I'm not gonna critique how people grieve. So I do want to point out 3 different things from episode 2. Trina had her breakdown. So we find out that Trina was in the room with Tracy when she took her last breath with Miss E. So Trina has this breakdown and says that, she doesn't know how to deal with her grief and she's eating her feelings. And, she doesn't sleep because when she goes to sleep, she sees Tracy and she sees just, every inch of Tracy's energy leaving her body, all these different things. I have seen a number of family members in the hospital or in their resting place after they've passed. Yeah, I have never seen somebody take their final breath. I know I'm not strong enough to do that personally, but if Trina felt that she wanted to see her sister do that, the way that Tawanda kind of gave an "I told you so" look disgusted me. Tawanda looked very condescending in that scene. I don't know if an "I told you so" is right in this venue. I don't know if an "I told you so" is necessary. You know what I mean? I just that really I didn't like any part of that whatsoever. We then see that when Trina was saying had her outburst, and she's like, I eat enough for everybody, and I'm drinking, and if I want to have one martini or 12, like they all started laughing outside of Trina and Spirit, the therapist. And my thing is, yeah, we know that they're a family, that they laugh, they joke, everything's funny, but in that moment, I don't think that was meant to be laughing. And I'm a person that I laugh, okay? I am almost always the person that laughs at the wrong time. But even I have the wherewithal, the emotional intelligence, and awareness to know that that was not the time to laugh. I thought that was very interesting. Trina is crying. It's not like Trina was laughing when she said it. There were real deal tears coming out of her eyes. And then I want to say that Miss E, Mama Braxton, piping up and telling them for darn sakes, you act like you hate each other. They always act like this. They always act like they're enemies. They've been acting like this probably since they've been children. And I don't think that Miss E ever has this level of anger or disgust or disappointment unless the cameras are going. Because the fact that they are so comfortable arguing in front of you like that shows that they do it on camera, shows that they do it all the time. I only have one sibling, right? I have an older brother. He's about 2.5 years older than me. We don't argue. I can count the number of like arguments we've had across our lives, and we are 39 and 42, right? We don't argue like that. But we also don't argue in front of our parents. I could not imagine sitting with my brother in front of my mom and we're arguing with each other like that. And we're yelling about how I don't have access to you and you don't have access to me and you leave me where I am and I have my own boundaries. It's bull. Miss E knows exactly what's going on with those sisters, but she also knows that she needs to step up because I'm on TV and I don't want to make it seem as if I'm a bad parent. Because in the very next scene, damn near the same breath, she said, well, they're adults and I can't fix this for them. No, you can't fix it, but you can give them the right tools on how they should and should not handle each other as siblings. But Tony also said that one of the things that their mother did not instill in them was how to live individual lives. As much as I've always wanted a sister, I feel like kind of lucky that I didn't because I didn't have to share anything growing up. I didn't have, you know what I mean? Like certain things like that where it's always you and your sister, you and your sister. And I have friends that live that life where because they have a sister that's close in age, or maybe, not even super close, but it's like you become a package deal. And that is the issue with the sisters now. That's why they feel that they can say what they want to say about Kevin Sr. That's why they've always said what they wanted to say about Vince and about Andre and about Gabe and probably about Vaughn and probably about Sean and whoever Tony is dating and whoever Tamar dates because they all feel like they are all one person. It's odd. Tony says she struggles with putting her sisters or her children first. And it's like, Tony, oh my God, you're a Libra. That's not what we do. We balance. Oh my God, I was kind of mystified by that. So, episode 3, and then we see Kevin Jr. get arrested, episode 2. Tawanda calls him. Tamar feels that they're keeping secrets. I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying, oh, why would Tamar feel that way? I mean, why wouldn't she? If we're sitting in a venue, right, and everybody else in my immediate family knows something, I would feel a way too. It's so easy to say that Tamar is a problem because she's loud and she's dramatic and she's theatrical. But when you really listen to the root of what Tamar is saying, she's not wrong. There are secrets in that family. There are cliques within the sisters. There are a lot of issues within that family that everybody likes to sweep under the rug and likes to ignore because Tamar gets loud and she's rolling her neck and she's popping her tongue and she's doing all of this. That is the issue. If Tamar had better execution, maybe they would take her more serious. But I also feel like just because somebody is loud and dramatic and theatrical, it doesn't mean you take them any less serious. So Kevin Jr. gets arrested. Why they chose to leave that in, I don't know. We then get to episode 3. Trina goes to grief counseling solo now because Miss E said that she needs extensive counseling. I said, well, damn. Okay. So Trina says she's not ready to talk about the different images and scenes that play in her head when she closes her eyes. I'll say this. I had my tonsils out a couple years ago, and they put me on an antibiotic uberly strong, right? I'll let you guys ascertain what that is to yourselves. But they put me on an antibiotic super, super strong, right? Just me taking the full recommended dosage, the recommended one, it was like every 6 hours or something. My parents, because I stayed with my parents during that because you need care, because you can't talk. So my dad was like giving me the medication in like smallest doses because he's like, I don't want you to get addicted to it. I don't want you to get dependent on it. And I'm like, bet, I don't want to be either. I took the full dosage once, right? I'm like, my throat is on fire. I can't talk. Everything hurts. Like, give me the full dosage. As soon as I closed my eyes, there were memories floating through my mind that I don't even remember outside of that. Like, my grandfather passed away when I was 4. There were like vivid memories of me sitting with him on the porch. Things that like there are no pictures of that just happened. You know what I mean? So I can see what Trina's talking about. I can see what she's saying. But Trina has to, she has PTSD for sure, but she has to find a way to work through that because staying up all night and eating and drinking your way through your grief is not healthy. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help you at all. We then find out that when Gabe, who was her husband, as she likes to call him, when Trina's ex husband Gabe passed away from cancer, Vaughn, her current husband, punished her for grieving him because he didn't understand how she could grieve her ex-husband. I mean, this is the man that she was with for X amount of years that raised her sons as his own, even though those were not Gabe's sons, which we kind of found out, I feel like, later than sooner. But he punished her for that. I was like, wow. Something about Vaughn is not looking, copacetic, if you will. When Trina gets home from therapy, Vaughn is pressing her once again. Well, what did you talk about? You came home and you've been quiet. And it's like, I guess, I don't want to say I don't foresee this marriage lasting because we don't know what goes on, right? I like to stress that, especially when it comes to this show, because so many people think that we know these sisters, that we know for sure what's going on in their lives. We know their family dynamics. We don't, but, So let's get to episode 4, all right? So episode 4 starts off with Trina, Tawanda, and their beaux, Sean and Vaughn, going to the DMV because they want to talk to Lil Kevin. So Lil Kevin got arrested, as we know. When he got out of jail, they hadn't talked to him. They were looking for him. Production had to hunt him down. We find out that he can't find his phone, or they took his phone, and he said he needs a phone. I don't know if he needs them to buy him a phone. Whatever the case, he needs a phone. So we're sitting around talking in the Airbnb that Trina and Vaughn are going to stay in. And Vaughn apparently lost his wedding ring. He's like, it's not lost though. I took it off because it cut my finger, and then I put it in my pocket, and then you lost it. Just say you lost it. And he's like, it happened this calendar year. See, that's cause for to me, because your ring has been missing for how long? Why have men rings are cheap? It's just a band. It's just a band. So I don't quite understand this. Hell, you can go to Walmart or Target and just get like that little rubber band that people wear on vacation, the rubber wedding band. So, and that's what, $5? Maybe $7? Maybe for a man's hand, maybe 10 at the most. I thought that was interesting. Trina doesn't seem too whatever about it. Where there's smoke, there's fire. We then see Tawanda calling Lil Kevin Scratchy. Now, her son already embarrassed her and was like, Scratchy? Where that nickname come from? Sent me. So now this episode, Vaughn, who has been in the family, around the family 6 to 7 years, said he's never heard that nickname. So I have family nicknames, right? There are nicknames that only my family calls me. Both of my parents have nicknames that their childhood friends and people that grew up with them call them. If I'm on my dad's side of the family, you don't even hear his government name. You only hear his nickname, right? They have never had to preface it with his real name after, because everybody knows. So if you have to say Scratchy, that's Lil Kevin, that's not a nickname that everybody knows, which is probably not a nickname that you use often. There is no need for you to now introduce it. And yes, I've seen the diehard Tawanda fans going in and pulling up the 1 or 2 scenes from Braxton Family Values where she did call him Scratchy. If your own family is asking who is Scratchy, then it's not a common nickname. Okay? I just want to say that. So, They said that they're going to go meet up with him, talk to him, see why, see if they can get some clarity as to why they haven't heard from him. Trina calls Tony, and she's telling Tony that they're gonna meet with Lil Kevin, and Tony is like, "Shouldn't y'all meet? Shouldn't we talk to his father?" And Trina's like, "Absolutely not." Now look. I understand that they didn't care for him, but at the end of the day, that is Tracy's ex husband. If you have an issue with something that could involve or that does involve how he is moving, the best course of action would to be adults and put our big girl panties on and go talk to him. It doesn't have to be on camera. You can have your father there. You can have Mikey there. You can have security there if that's what you feel they need to have. You can have a proxy, a lawyer, a police officer, whatever you want. But the way that they're acting as if they just can't bear to ever talk to this man is weird. It's weird, but it's also like, why is this the show? When Braxton Family Values came out, it was about all of their individual lives. I understand that this show is for Tracy, but does that mean that the entire show has to be solely about Tracy? I guess that's the part that I don't quite get. Because if they're saying that Tracy wanted them to do the show, I believe them. I have no reason not to. You know what I mean? I have no reason not to. But does that mean that the entire show is about Tracy and her son's business? Like, I feel like you can bring the show back in honor of Tracy and still go about your normal lives. Like, Tawanda, what do you have going on? What are you doing? Trina, do you still have bar chicks? Tamar, I mean, we all saw that performance. Okay, like Tony, like what are we doing that I guess I don't get it. I don't quite understand, but let's continue. So we know that there was beef because Kevin Sr. gave Tracy a funeral or a memorial. Actually, it was a memorial and broadcasted it live on the internet. The sisters are saying that Tracy did not want a funeral, so there are issues with that. Remember, the sisters did not go. I don't think the mother went. So it was a whole situation. Tony, in her confessional, points out that we don't know the conversations that happened between Tracy and her husband, and we don't. We don't know. So for all we know, they could have had a conversation where Tracy says, "You know what? Yeah, a memorial would be okay." We don't know. At the end of the day, it was 2 years ago. Why are y'all still mad about that? Why are y'all still mad about that? Didn't the sisters have like their own service for her that they posted pictures of? I don't. This is silly. Tony, however, said that she is willing to talk to him. She doesn't mind. And Trina say, well, maybe because Tony is the oldest, she feels no, because Tony has emotional intelligence, at least in this capacity. At least in this capacity, right? So we see a scene where they go karting. Who cares? Trina then brings up Sean asking for Tawanda's hand in marriage to their father years ago, but having done nothing with it. Something about Sean is very snake-like to me. I don't know. Remember, he popped up out of nowhere. Wasn't he like one of their producers or something? Something about him is very, gotta keep my eye on you. So we see Tamar doing a podcast, their 100th episode of a podcast for some of her producer friends. And Tamar said that basically they are doing the show for Tracy. Said that she didn't want to do it. She was the last to sign on to it. Her mother had to come and humbly ask her to do the show. Tamar said that while Braxton Family Values was great and entertaining for the audience, and while it was awesome for some of her family members, it wasn't good for her or her mental health. Tamar also feels that we did not see the real Tamar. And I guess I don't quite understand that because you're an executive producer. You are an executive producer. So you had some say so in what was shown on the show. But see, Tamar, we have seen the real you. The same you that was on Braxton Family Values. It's the same you that was on Tamar Get Your Life. It's the same you that was on the Tamar and Vince show. It's the same you that we have seen on Twitter acting the fool. It's the same you that we see on Instagram fighting with everybody and they mama in the industry. It's the same you that we have seen over on YouTube cut the fool. It's the same you that we have seen paparazzi shots of doing a lot. It's the same you that we have heard stories about from other people on how you have behaved. So we have seen the same you. It's the same you that we have seen episodes 1 and 2. But Tamar says we don't know the real her, and I have no choice but to believe you. Okay. So, but basically, she said that the show was mentally draining for her, and she now has a mental health professional on set every time she films. Good for you. So, we get to this dinner. So, at the dinner, it's Trina, Sean, Tawanda, Vaughn, y'all know, switch their husbands. Mr. Braxton comes, Mikey comes, Mikey's son comes. Now, this is interesting to me because isn't he Michael Braxton Sr. and then Michael Braxton Jr.? Now, is he the third? Is his son the third? Nonetheless, his son is there. I'm assuming that was his wife or girlfriend. Mikey's granddaughter, or was that a baby? We'll say grandbaby. And then there was the family friend. So there are there. Immediately, Mr. Braxton is talking to Sean about marriage. Tawanda, who clearly wants to be married to this man, but said in the earlier scene she's not going to push a man to propose to her. If you want to shack up with this nigga, shack up with him then. But he clearly is comfortable and he's not going to marry you. Why would he marry you and y'all are already living as a married couple? He's getting all the benefits already, including now being on TV. But okay. So he talks to Mr. Braxton. Mr. Braxton is like, well, let me know what's going on, what's the plan. All Sean ever says while wearing his sunglasses, red flag, is that he has something in the works and it says you will be the first to know. Her dad was like, I don't want to be the first, make me the second. Tawanda should be the first. So basically, we're sitting down at this dinner, and it is Kevin Jr. It's basically an intervention, right? They want to know why Kevin Jr. isn't reaching out, what's going on. He tells them that he only reaches out if it's an emergency because he wants to handle this as a man. He misses his mom. And he kind of feels like, what does it look like if I'm constantly reaching out to y'all to help me with stuff or to fix my issues? Like, what is that? Where does that leave me? I see what you're saying, Kevin, but like Trina said, reaching out doesn't have to be for an emergency. And like the Mr. Braxton said, it's not that we want to fix things for you, but we're there to be there with you, to sympathize, to empathize. Because at the end of the day, we all lost somebody. They lost a sister. He lost a child. Your father lost lost a wife. Let's talk about that. His relationship is strained with his father because Tracy left everything to her son. This is how he is phrasing it at the table. So in my mind, I'm like, so did she leave her assets? What did she exactly leave you that your father is so upset about? Is it money? Like, what did she leave you, right? So Mikey is like, look, you and your mother had a different relationship than you and your father did. So you really need to just talk to your father and find out what the issue is. Lil Kevin is standing very firm on the fact that Tracy has always told him that she was going to leave everything to him. That makes a lot of sense, right? My parents are married. They have in their will a lot of things are being left to me and my brother. Of course, there are concessions that, things kind of go to each other, right? If one were to pass before the other. But it makes sense. But a lot of it is maybe Kevin Sr. has to take some accountability into why does your wife, a public figure, a celebrity, right? A brand, why did she not want to leave her likeness, her name, and all that stuff to you? Why would she give it to the son? Why would you be that upset about it? I guess that's the bigger issue. Kevin Sr., what did you want to do with that? What were your plans? Did you want to do a hologram? Like, I don't understand why you would be that upset with it. Because Kevin Jr. hasn't done anything with it. He hasn't done anything with it. So I can see if he kind of felt like Kevin Jr. was out here just throwing shit against the wall with Tracy's name to see what sticks, but he hasn't done anything with it. What? Talk to your son and maybe give. I guess I don't understand this. This doesn't make sense. So it's now leaving Kevin Jr. to question his place in his father's life, and that's the last thing that he should have to go through after losing his mother. So we then see Trina taking little Kevin to meet with Antavius. So Antavius, we know, is like the only lawyer that these people know. So he's the family lawyer. And Antavius said, look, I talked to Tracy before her passing, well before her health started to decline. She was very lucid. She cooked me some oxtails. And she told me that she wanted to leave her image, brand, and likeness to you when you were ready for it, right? So then little Kevin is like, yeah, and I told my dad, I was born into this family. You was married into it. And it's like, where did that come from? I'm going to say this. There is no right or wrong person in this situation, right? Kevin Sr. is not necessarily right. The sisters are not necessarily right. Little Kevin is not necessarily right. Because everybody seems to be talking with ego. It's almost as if everybody is, well, she was my sister first. Oh, but she was my wife. Oh, but that was my mom. Like that's what it's given. It's like y'all are competing to say who was the closest to Tracy. Who cares? At this point, you all had different relationships with her. But the fact is, she left her image, brand, and likeness to her son, which makes sense. It makes sense. But to be fighting over the funeral from 2 years ago and all of this other type of stuff, why is this the basis of the show? Why is this the basis of the show? Why isn't the show just a dedication to Tracy, show a couple scenes, couple flashbacks, and then we move on and follow the individual sisters' lives? Tamar has stuff going on. Tamar's been on tour. Tony has been on tour. Trina, Tawanda, I'm looking at you because y'all are the ones really in Kevin's business, big and little. So then Trina's like, yeah, and I was there. Shut up. Like, who cares? So Antavius is like, look, I recorded her. I have everything on tape. We ain't got to worry about that. We good. We solid. Don't trip about nothing. Trina gets back to her Airbnb, and I'm like, this could have been a phone call. We didn't need to come up here for this. But Trina gets back to her Airbnb. Tawanda comes running over, and Trina's like, yeah, well, production wanted Lil Kevin to film with his father and our dad, Mr. Braxton. Tawanda turns into Big Bad McGruff and it's like, don't play with me. Don't play with me. I don't want him to have a platform on my platform. You know that Kevin Sr. can say whatever he is going to say on this show on fucking Instagram. He can get on social media as he did and put out a video. So now Tawanda is saying she's going to release what she knows. Don't test me. And it's like, Trina and Tawanda, what do y'all have going on? Why is this the basis of the show? Why? Next week is, I guess, Tracy's birthday, so we're going to have a birthday party for Tracy. Great. Why have these first 4 episodes been so much about Kevin Jr.'s business, his personal life, and then now Tracy's personal affairs? This is a weird series. I don't know if they're going to get a season 2, but this is a weird series that I think is emboldening fans to feel as if, I'm Tammy Braxton, because that's how y'all are acting. I've seen so many people say, oh, well, I know the sisters think this, and that, and I know. And it's like, we don't know because we're not in their family. We're not. Then it is still y'all going around saying, oh, well, the sisters hated Tracy and they treated her wrong. So then why are y'all watching the show? If you were such a Tracy fanatic, why are you watching a show with people that you feel did not like her? We got to use our thinkers. Let me know what you guys thought about these past couple episodes. Let's talk about it all down below. If you haven't already, subscribed to the channel, thumbs up the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.